My name is Rachelle Smith. Welcome to Rachelle's Kitchen. I am so excited and delighted to kick off this cooking series with this inaugural cooking episode on Chinese food. As you just heard, I'm a big fan of smooth jazz music, but that's actually a smooth jazz group based out of Shanghai, China, called the Shanghai Restoration Project. As you can hear it, nice smooth sounds. You saw wonderful, wonderful, wonderful introduction to this particular episode. And folks, many years ago, as a freshman in Louisiana, I actually spent a year working in a Chinese restaurant, doing everything from cashiering to cutting up the vegetables to cooking the food to serving the customers. And so I did it all. And I'm just so grateful to that experience, And I've certainly done a lot of cooking over the years. I'm very, just in terms of just different types of food, different types of cuisines from different countries. But Chinese will always, always, always be very near and dear to my heart. Even when I was at Seoul American High School, I remember taking that home ec class, and it was a total joke because whatever. I think we all were basically in that class, so we didn't have to take some other class. And so we were not the most cooperative students, I should say, for our teacher. But anyway, cooking is wonderful. And folks, no matter what your own perception of your own cooking is, there's always the new beginning. There's always an opportunity for change, for improvement, to start over again. So if you tell yourself, I'm a horrible cook, I don't know what to cook, my food tastes horrible, nobody likes what I cook, I don't even like what I cook, folks, recognize you're setting your own limitations. And folks, no matter who we are, where we come from, what our perspective is on cooking, we can all make things happen in the kitchen. I'm so delighted to open up Rachelle's Kitchen here to you more formally today. As you can see, I'm all decked out here in my little chef's outfit, and wanted to basically kind of give you this is going to be a quicker episode because this is, of course, is Chinese food, and I did this on purpose. It's the beauty of Chinese food for the most part. Yes, there is a marination of vegetables, there can be marination of various meats, there'd be seafood, traditional beef, chicken, lamb, pork, steak, whatever the case may be. But Chinese food, particularly Asian food, and in many cases, is very, very, in terms of the ability to cook it quickly, is certainly one of the benefits. And Chinese food is something that I, of course, learned many years ago. But as you can see here in Rachelle's Kitchen, I own not one, but I actually own 2 woks. And so I do quite a bit of Asian cooking, but also Chinese food in particular. And so wanted to kind of start things out. I'm actually going to get my first wok going here. And of course you can use whichever oil. If you prefer vegetable oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, whatever the case may be. I'm just more of a health fanatic, so I'm using the extra virgin olive oil. And so that's always the basis for getting your wok ready. You may use a traditional skillet, a cast iron skillet, whatever you are going to be cooking and preparing the food. And it's incredibly important that you, of course, first start with your oil and allow that to heat up there for a few minutes. And so you can already, of course, cut up your vegetables, have everything all prepared. What I've done is I've boiled a chicken quarter, and I've cut up the meat. So you can see the chicken here, it's all cut up in pieces, but I have not yet cut up my vegetables. And the thing with Chinese food, and actually just any food in particular, it's all about utilizing what you like. Or in your case, what your family may like, what your friends may like, if you're hosting a dinner party, what their likes are. And so in my particular case, again, you just know I have just a great need for variety in my life. So what I'm cooking is always changing. The vegetables that I'm using in any particular dish is always changing. The sauces that I'm using and creating are always changing. So you just never know what you're going to get in Rachelle's Kitchen. And you also never know what you're going to get when it comes to Rachelle's life. There's never a dull moment in my life. And so what I'm going to do is cut up my vegetables here. And so again, you utilize whatever vegetables you want. It could be carrots, it could be anything. And so just to keep it simple, I'm just going to utilize these green onions as well as traditional yellow onion, just to kind of keep it simple and keep it moving quickly here. As my oil is heating up over here pretty quickly. So of course, watch your vegetables. And then get a cutting board and cut them up pretty quickly. and actually just in general, I'm just a pretty big fan of onions anyway, but you may not like onions. You know, you may want bean sprouts, you may like celery, you may like green peppers, red peppers, jalapeno peppers. I mean, there's just so many things, and I'm sure you've been to Chinese buffets in your life where you can really see that there's a lot of different ways to make various dishes. So it truly goes back to what you like. I'm a fan of I love garlic. I eat a ton of garlic. So my dishes tend to be on the spicier side for the most part, and also tend to be garlicky with lots of onions. It just depends. And of course it depends on whether it's shrimp or beef or pork, whatever the dish that I'm making in terms of what I'm using. So what we can see here is that my wok is good and ready for preparation. And I forgot to pull out, you always need something, of course, to mix everything around in your wok in. And so I always start, let me turn down my heat a little bit. I always start my dishes and my cooking here with the vegetables first. That's just how I was trained, and that's how I learned years ago in Louisiana. Vegetables first. I can also, you can see here, green onions in. See, I've got minced garlic already prepared here, chopped up, ready to go. So I told you I'm a big garlic fan. Right? Now when your vegetables, you can always tell when they're ready. They'll start to get softer. You'll start to see them start to absorb the oil a little bit more. So you'll start to see their texture change. So my onions are looking good. My garlic's in here looking good. Okay, it's time to add the chicken. Keep in mind, the amount of cook time and preparation, of course, is going to depend. As I mentioned, I'd already pre-boiled the leg quarter, and I, of course, chopped it up into pieces. So this chicken is pre-cooked. So the cooking time is going to be shorter. If you're using fresh meat or seafood, again, keep in mind that it will take longer for your meat to get ready. And while that's here, I actually utilize a rice cooker. I make a big container of rice each and every week. So this, of course, is my container of rice for the week. And so I made it a couple days ago. So I throw this in the microwave, heat it up. While this is cooking. That's the thing with Chinese food. You always got to keep your eye on it to make sure that it's not overcooking. Alright, now in terms of sauces, you can either just have regular, kind of more fluid sauces, or you can have the thicker sauces. Now, whatever you're utilizing in terms of ingredients, I mean, I could, and I probably will in the future, give a whole tutorial and a whole episode on the types of ingredients you can include in your sauces. Alright, as I mentioned, mine tend to be spicier, so I'm utilizing things like crushed red pepper, cayenne peppers, black pepper, salt. All right, it just really depends. And in this particular case, as I mentioned, I'm a big garlic fan, so I utilize minced garlic. But I also made this sauce. You know, some of your typical sauces that go in Chinese food would be soy sauce. Soy sauce, salt, pepper. Again, you can add garlic. You can add in sugar. Again, if you want a sweeter taste, you can add in sugar. But mine just has salt, pepper, garlic, soy sauce, water, and to thicken things, one thing you always have to remember, whether it's Chinese food or any type of food, cornstarch or flour, but cornstarch in particular is utilized to make your sauces thicker. All right, so you have that thicker consistency, and it's wonderful when you're cooking. All right, so it looks like my rice up here is done. Add my sauce here. Grab a plate. You always want to keep an eye on your temperature. You don't want to overcook it. Particularly the vegetables as you're just now starting out with your stir fry. It's easy to overcook those vegetables, but you always got to keep an eye on it. Start out the dish typically with a higher heat, and particularly as you're heating up the sauce in the wok or the pan or the skillet that you're using. Then you want to bring that temperature down, as you saw me do during, of course, more of the cooking, as it's been cooking for a while. So, all right, add here. Turn this off now. And voila, there is my Chinese chicken stir fry. All right. So with cooking, just with anything, you have to experiment. You have to test things, have trial and error, figure out what you like, what you don't like, what works, what doesn't work. And I promise you, there will be future episodes as I'll continue to dive into more deeper topics in regard to cooking. But this is just a starter, and this is something Chinese food is great. I don't use any MSG. Very, very healthy options in terms of as opposed to frying foods and things like that. The processed foods that you find in the grocery store, it's much better and much easier, as you see, very quick to make things quickly in the comfort of your own home, wherever the case may be, or wherever you may find yourself. So, folks, don't write yourself off as a cook. Take it from me. Somebody would have told me back in that high school home economics class that I would be able to make things happen in the kitchen, I wouldn't have believed it. But now, great things are always happening in Rachelle's kitchen. So make it a wonderful day, and I look forward to chatting with you next time. Take care.